When people talk about financial wisdom, they instinctively look toward economists, legendary investors, or market analysts. But what often surprises the world is that some of the most memorable financial advice comes not from Wall Street, but from celebrities whose fame forces them to confront the brutal truths about money earlier and more intensely than most people ever will. Behind the glamour, behind the red carpets, lies a battlefield of financial temptation, sudden wealth, predatory advisors, and the psychological volatility that comes with going from poverty to millions overnight. And in that crucible, many celebrities either burn out spectacularly or learn lessons so powerful that they become warnings or treasures for the rest of us. What matters is not who said the advice, but the universal truth hidden beneath it, because money obeys principles, not personalities, and even the brightest spotlight cannot blind the laws of financial gravity. Take Jay-Z, for example, a man who transformed himself from a street hustler to a billionaire not by luck, but by understanding that ownership, not income, is the foundation of lasting wealth. When he said, "If you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it," people treated it like a clever lyric. But any seasoned investor can see that it encapsulates the very core of financial discipline. The ability to delay gratification and protect your future self from your present impulses. Celebrities often discover this too late, but Jay-Z grasped it early, and that single principle, if internalized, could save millions from financial ruin. Or consider Oprah Winfrey, who built an empire not through extravagance, but through relentless emotional intelligence applied to financial choices. Her advice? Spend your money on things that will grow you. Sounds soft, almost spiritual, until you recognize it as a psychological articulation of the greatest investment strategy ever known: investing in yourself. Every empire, financial or personal, began with that seed. Oprah understood that self-growth has the highest ROI because it expands the mind that makes financial decisions in the first place. That is a principle older than the stock market itself. Yet the advice that resonates most deeply with investors like me comes from celebrities who learned the hard way, through collapse, through humiliation, through bankruptcy. Mike Tyson once earned more than $400 million and lost nearly all of it. His hindsight advice, "Don't trust anyone with your money more than you trust yourself," is not a bitter reflection, but a brutal lesson on a timeless rule. Delegation without understanding is not delegation. It is surrender. Money attracts predators, and sudden wealth attracts them faster. The principle Tyson discovered the painful way is the same principle that protects entrepreneurs, founders, and investors. You can outsource tasks, but you cannot outsource responsibility. This lesson alone has saved countless fortunes from extinction. Then there is Keanu Reeves, a celebrity whose humility is so profound that people almost forget he is wealthy. His unspoken financial philosophy, "Live simply, give generously, stay grounded," is the antidote to the disease that destroys celebrity after celebrity: ego inflation. The danger of wealth is not the money. It is the identity distortion that money creates. Reeves understands that when ego grows faster than financial literacy, bankruptcy becomes inevitable. His lifestyle is a reminder that the greatest financial armor a person can wear is not frugality, but clarity. The clarity to see money as a tool, not a mirror of one's worth. Yet perhaps the most underrated financial wisdom comes from Arnold Schwarzenegger, who said, "You can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have discipline, you will lose it." Discipline is the silent force behind every financial success story. Without discipline, intelligence collapses into impulse. With discipline, even modest income can compound into abundance. And that is why Arnold's advice feels almost like a law of physics. Money flows to those who can control themselves longer than the world can tempt them. Still, the most profound celebrity financial advice is often wrapped in humor, like Will Smith's remark, "Too many people spend money they haven't earned to buy things they don't want, to impress people they don't like." It sounds comedic, yet it is one of the greatest psychological diagnoses of modern financial destruction. Status spending is the silent killer of wealth. People chase images instead of assets, applause instead of stability, validation instead of independence. Smith exposes the emotional trap that even billionaires fall into. using money to fill psychological voids. No investment strategy can compensate for insecurity, and no financial plan survives the weight of ego-driven spending. The irony is that celebrities, despite their wealth, often become the perfect mirrors of society's financial illusions because they experience those illusions at scale. Sudden fame magnifies weaknesses. Sudden wealth reveals character. And when celebrities rise above the chaos and distill their insights into simple advice, that advice carries the weight of lived reality, not theory. But here is what most people overlook. Behind every piece of celebrity financial wisdom lies a deeper principle that echoes the timeless rules of wealth building. Jay-Z teaches discipline. Oprah teaches self-investment. Tyson teaches responsibility. Reeves teaches humility. Schwarzenegger teaches self-control. Will Smith teaches identity awareness. These are not celebrity lessons. They are universal laws. And the reason their words resonate is because money, at its core, is never about numbers. It is about behavior. The tech entrepreneur who burns through investor capital, the lottery winner who goes bankrupt, the musician who signs a predatory deal, the retail trader who chases hype, they all fall for the same psychological traps, regardless of their income level. And that is why celebrity financial advice can be so powerful. It reveals that wealth without wisdom is a temporary illusion. Yet the richest insights come from celebrities who understand that money is not just a resource, but a mirror. Someone like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who says, "Be humble, be hungry, and always be the hardest worker in the room." This advice may appear motivational, but hidden inside it is one of the rarest financial truths. Consistent effort is the most reliable wealth generator in history. Markets fluctuate, industries collapse, opportunities shift, but work ethic compounds just like capital does. The Rock's philosophy shows that wealth is built long before it is earned, created first in mindset, then in behavior, and finally in the bank account. And woven through all these celebrity insights is a thread that binds every financial success story I have studied over decades. The world rewards individuals who master themselves far more than those who master numbers. Because money follows mindset, not the other way around. And perhaps that is why the best celebrity financial advice often feels raw, honest, stripped of pretense. Their journeys expose the truth that wealth without inner stability collapses under its own weight. And so, when people ask which celebrity advice matters most, I always answer, it is not the catchiest phrase, nor the most viral quote, but the principle that endures long after fame fades, long after applause stops, long after fortunes rise and fall. The principle that reminds us that money is simply a magnifier of the self. And if you do not know who you are before you become wealthy, the money will decide for you. Which is why the true value of celebrity financial wisdom is not found in their fame, but in the scars they carry beneath it. Scars that whisper truths the world often learns too late. Truths that reveal why the greatest wealth is not in the money earned, but in the identity forged while choosing how to use money as a force that strengthens your life, rather than a force that quietly erodes it. Because every financial choice a person makes is ultimately a choice about identity, values, gain, and the future they are building long before the numbers ever show up on a bank statement. And this is where the deepest layer of celebrity financial wisdom reveals itself. Not in the glamour of wealth, not in the success they display on magazine covers, but in their quiet acknowledgement that money is only as powerful as the mind that controls it. A weak mind turns abundance into chaos. A disciplined mind turns even modest income into freedom. And when you look at celebrities who manage to sustain wealth over decades, not just earn it, you notice a striking pattern. They treat money as a student treats a demanding teacher. They listen. They adjust. They evolve. They learn from mistakes rather than repeat them. Most people, by contrast, behave like the classmate who skips lessons and then wonders why the exam destroys them. Wealth is the exam that exposes how much self-mastery you truly possess. And so, when we examine the best financial advice from celebrities, what we really uncover are universal laws disguised in modern voices. Jay-Z teaches that wealth begins with restraint. Oprah teaches that the foundation of fortune is self-growth. Tyson warns that abdicated responsibility becomes a weapon turned against you. Keanu reminds that ego is the most expensive luxury anyone can buy. Arnold declares that discipline is worth more than intelligence. Will Smith exposes the emotional traps that bankrupt even the wealthy. The Rock proves that consistency beats brilliance over the long run. These lessons form a constellation, a map, leading toward financial stability, emotional maturity, and long-term prosperity if one is wise enough to follow it. But the tragedy is that most people hear the advice, admire it, maybe even repost it, and then return to the same habits that keep them trapped. Because financial transformation does not come from listening. It comes from integration. It comes from allowing these truths to reshape how you think about consumption, investing, identity, and purpose. Financial collapse does not begin with a bad investment. It begins with a bad belief. Likewise, financial independence does not begin with higher income. It begins with higher awareness. And the celebrities who offer the most useful advice are those who discovered often through painful mistakes that money is a mirror reflecting your deepest strengths and your deepest wounds. Until those wounds are addressed, no financial strategy can save you. Look closely, and you will see that every great celebrity financial principle leads to the same destination: freedom. Not freedom defined by yachts or private jets, but freedom defined by sovereignty over your time, your decisions, your emotional life. The average person thinks money buys things. The wise person understands money buys choices. And with the right choices, life expands. With the wrong choices, life shrinks. And so the ultimate purpose of financial wisdom, whether spoken by a billionaire rapper or a Hollywood icon, is to expand your life, not inflate your lifestyle. When someone adopts Jay-Z's discipline, they stop bleeding money through impulse purchases. When they adopt Oprah's philosophy, they begin to invest in skills, relationships, and clarity. When they listen to Tyson's warning, they become their own first line of defense. When they embrace Keanu's humility, they stop chasing status and start chasing meaning. When they accept Arnold's truth, they build the discipline needed to compound wealth. When they absorb Will Smith's insight, they free themselves from the emotional trap of impressing the wrong people. When they follow The Rock's mindset, they build the work ethic that supports all future abundance. These lessons are not theoretical. They are intensely practical, and they apply to every financial journey regardless of income or background. And perhaps the most important revelation is this: celebrity financial advice becomes powerful not because celebrities are special, but because their failures are public. Their mistakes are magnified for the world to see, and their victories are dissected like case studies. We learn from them not because they are flawless, but because they are human at scale. Their successes and failures function like amplified echoes of our own. And when a celebrity distills a lesson into a principle, that principle carries the weight of millions of dollars lost or gained, of decades of self-discovery, of battles fought privately behind the illusion of fame. Their wisdom is carved from real scars. So when you hear a celebrity share financial advice, do not listen to the person, to listen to the principle. Personalities fade, trends fade, fame fades, but principles do not. Principles outlive empires, industries, and generations. And the person who anchors their financial life in principles rather than excitement becomes unshakable, like a tree with deep roots, unaffected by the storms of economic cycles. In that sense, celebrity advice, when filtered through timeless truths, can become a compass guiding ordinary people through extraordinary challenges. Because the world will always tempt you to overspend, overestimate, overextend, and overlook the consequences until it is too late. But the principles that govern financial success are indifferent to temptation. They reward patience, they reward clarity, they reward courage, and they punish self-deception every single time. Which is why the greatest financial advice from celebrities ultimately circles back to a single ancient truth. Wealth is not something you chase. It is something you shape from the inside out. And once a person understands that money is a reflection of mindset, habits, and emotional discipline, they stop searching for shortcuts and start building foundations. They stop asking how to get rich and start asking how to become the type of person who stays rich. Because staying rich requires far more wisdom than becoming rich. And the celebrities who succeed long-term understand that their most valuable asset is not fame, not talent, not opportunity, but the internal mastery that governs every financial choice they make, echoing the truth that has guided investors for centuries. Fortune follows character, and character is revealed in how a person chooses to